Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. We've got another poll to share here with you. Now, we normally do a lot of polls on Twitter, but this one happens to be a YouTube poll. YouTube does have a polling function, and I've been asking some really interesting questions over the last couple of weeks and been getting some awesome responses. So these videos are a great way for me to share some of the results with you and kind of elaborate on some of my ideas. And today, we're going to be talking about the Ruger Mini 14. This is going to be pretty interesting. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at CMMG for supporting our videos. If you're looking for anything in the AR category, they have some cutting edge stuff. You guys know about the Mark 47. They have some awesome bufferless designs like the Descent line. They have their AR-22 conversion kits that are amazing, and they are the industry standard for AR-22 conversion kits. Use the code IV8888 to save yourself some money, and that also lets them know that you saw this on the channel here and that we sent you. So thanks so much to CMMG for supporting our videos, and we're going to get into today's video. So I asked a poll, and that's been about 2 weeks ago. I said, do you like the Mini 14/Mini 30? We got around 21,000 votes. In fact, 21,323 to be exact. 82% of respondents said yes, they like the Mini 14. 18% said no. We're going to go over some comments here. Now, I'm just going to sort these comments by the top comments, and we're going to go through and read some of the comments that receive the highest amount of upvotes. And I'm going to elaborate on my thoughts. Now, my answer was yes. However, I will say that I have not exactly had the most perfect relationship with the Ruger Mini 14 over the years, of which some things I'm going to elaborate probably in some future videos, but I will talk about in this video as well. But first, I want to read some of your comments. I want to know what y'all think about the Mini 14. All right, so I'm not going to necessarily try to pronounce any of these screen names. I'm just going to screen shoot them and put them up here so you can read along with me if you want. All right, so let's see. This gentleman said, and this is the top voted, one of the top voted comments, I love the idea of being able to have an M14 in 223 and 5.56. Unfortunately, the gun has went up in value, and the AR-15 still has much more customization, making the Mini 14 feel more outdated than in the past. That is true. One of the common complaints that people have about the Mini 14 is, well, why would I buy a Mini 14 and spend the money that's required to get one when I can just spend $500 and get a Palmetto State Armory AR that's very, very capable, arguably probably more accurate, if not just as accurate as any stock Mini 14. We'll talk about accuracy here in a minute. That's one of the weak points of the Mini 14. Many have considered them to not be very accurate due to the gas system design, because it is a shrunk down Mini 14 or M14 at the end of the day. It does inheritedly have the same teething issues that the M14 had, with the gas block causing a lot of barrel harmonics issues, and just the bedding of the stock being super crucial to getting good accuracy out of that type of a platform. Like in the Iraq War, okay, we had a lot of M14s that were sitting around in armories, and we took them and put them in modern chassis and put optics on them, and they were a pretty effective semi-auto DMR platform in an urban environment, especially for fast follow-up shots. But they didn't exactly come without their issues in terms of making sure the stocks were fitted well and making sure those gas systems weren't flexing super bad and actually trying to wring some decent accuracy out of them. Ruger, from what I understand, has since fixed many of the accuracy issues with the Mini 14. Some of the early ones would string really bad. I mean, we're talking like a 4-minute gun, and that's if you're lucky. From what I understand, knock on wood, more of the modern ones seem to do a lot better, and they have made some rolling changes and fixed some of the inherent, let's just say, accuracy issues in terms of like the barrel harmonics and stuff. So anyway, let's move on. This is one of the strongest love-hate relationships. Exactly. My relationship with the M14 or the Mini 14 has been rather love-hate in its fashion. I mean, for one, I'm not a big fan of the magazines being proprietary. Okay, I really wish that the 5.56 caliber Mini 14, took AR mags of some sort And I kind of wish that the Mini 30 took AK mags, because everyone has AK mags. Everybody has AR mags. So that's one more vote against the Mini 14 already, is that it's outdated, ARs are cheaper, and then of course with magazine continuity, now you have to have a whole slew of extra magazines, which back in the day, Bill Ruger was relatively anti-gun and didn't even want to sell high-cap mags for that gun. I guess he considered it more of a rancher gun or something like that. Now, obviously, Ruger now is much more forward-thinking, and obviously, they sell all kind of cool things. However, there was a time when getting high-cap mags for the Mini 14 was quite a chore. And then it's proprietary at that, so I can certainly see why that would be an assessment there, okay? Thank you for that comment. There was a time when the Mini 14 was a cheap alternative to the AR-15. Nowadays, things have changed, but the Mini 14 is still a cool gun, and if you already own one, it has increased in value, and that was from Michael Blacktree. Okay, that's correct. Again, kind of reiterating what I already mentioned there, but again, with 86 upvotes and 12 replies to that particular comment, obviously that comment seemed to resonate with people. So that's why I'm reading the top comments, because these are ones that you obviously all agree with each other on. Good point there, Michael. All right, David G, 9352. I grew up with them because my father has several and he loves them. I never really cared for them myself. I've been an AR guy for as long as I can remember, probably because of the original SWAT TV series from the 1970s. Yeah, I'm that old. Okay, A-Team, right? You guys might recall a video that we put up not too long ago where we talked about the 22 stock that Samson makes for the Ruger 1022. They also make them for the Mini 14. You guys might recall the old school police Mini 14s that have the really awesome pistol grip, side folding stock and everything, and especially in stainless, it's a really sharp looking gun. We do have a video coming up on that particular Mini 30. We have a Mini 30 that they sent us. They were nice enough to send us one. Ruger worked with them on that. And they do work with Ruger on an OEM level a little bit on some of the parts and stuff. But Samson does some awesome stocks for the Mini 14 that definitely give it that old school 70s vibe, that A-Team kind of vibe. So that's something that has kind of brought the Mini 14 and the Mini 30 back in a lot of ways. And that's also what renewed my interest in the platform as well. Samson coming out with those stocks. Chad built one of those open top, Ruger 1022s that we did the video on. It was quite a successful video, and it seemed to work out quite well. All right, good comment there, David. You're correct. Nebraskan Heathen says, I've had my Mini 14 since I was 18 years old. It's always been a great rifle. I'm 52 years old now. I wish they'd bring back the Deerfield. Oh, man. Yes. The Deerfield was such an awesome rifle. And if you don't know, they had a couple of different versions. One of them was a rotary magazine version. And then they had an earlier version that used a tubular magazine. And it was a semi-auto 44 Magnum, okay, that was almost kind of like a big 1022, believe it or not. Like it did have a rotating locking bolt, I believe, but the overall principle of it, the way it looked, was just like a giant Mini 14 or like a giant 1022 that was just sort of gotten a little bit bigger. Personally, I think the tube guns are a little bit more accurate and reliable than the mag-fed guns, but they are awesome. And yes, I wish that Ruger would bring back the Deerfield. Really cool stuff. Okay, the Frog King says, my first 5.56 rifle, I still own it 40 years later, and it's still going strong. Okay, so again, a great vote for the Mini 14. Let's see, Dakota Slim says, a classic that is fun to shoot. It will never be as accurate as an AR, but for ranch rifle scenarios, it's perfect. I love the Mini. All right, so again, people are agreeing there. Eric Nearly says that my favorite gun is the Mini 30, and 7.62x39 is one of the easiest rounds to find. Right, again, a great vote for the Mini 30. I have to say that out of all of the Mini 30 or the Mini 14 type variants that are out there, I do prefer the Mini 30. They did make a Mini 30 in 6.8 spec. They did one in 7.62x39. I'm not sure if Ruger has made a 300 blackout Mini 30 yet. I apologize for not knowing, but I know they did make a 6.8. Now, they do a couple of different barrel lengths. Right now, you can get Mini 30s in a 16-inch barrel and an 18-inch barrel. I opted to get a threaded 16-inch model, and we put a suppressor on there, and it's pretty nice, okay? I won't spoil it, but the video's coming up. You're going to love it. Samson's going to come down and hang out with us and bring some toys, and we're going to make that video soon. But I think preemptively going into that piece of content, I really wanted to know what you guys thought. So that's why I conducted this poll, because I kind of had a feeling that some people had maybe a little bit of strife against the Mini 14, but it seems to be maybe unwarranted. Most people seem to like the gun quite well. All right. Good comment there, Eric. Let's see. Carl Terranella. I love both. I would be much happier if there was a retrofit kit to allow the Mini 14 to use AR mags. That's a great point. Most people feel that way. Let's see. Joshua 4470 says, both have been on my list for a long time. It seems like nothing else. They always comes along and takes their place. I'll eventually have both someday, though. Ruger should come out with an A-Team tribute version instead of buying parts separately. That seems to be a pretty common thread amongst many people. That's true. All right. Dave K 5027 says, I would love it if it costed $500 less and accepted AR mags. Believe me, a lot of people, feel your pain there, Dave. The Mini 14 has held on, and it's been a gun that, some people love, some people hate. I can understand the love-hate relationship that many have with the Mini 14, but I do think the gun design is here to stay, and I almost wonder if maybe part of it is just due to, like, nostalgia. Some people just prefer the nostalgia of the Mini 14 because of things like A-Team or like 70s SWAT TV dramas, like, what the one fellow mentioned there in the thread. There were over like 600 comments on this thread, so I'm not going to read all of them, but if you want to kind of get an idea of what your fellow viewers are thinking, there's a lot of really good comments with some great insight. I think we really did cover kind of the high points in terms of, like what people were generally kind of thinking and all, and I think you're going to see just generally a continuation of that in terms of, to some lesser degree. There were some people that had some detracting type comments, but none of them that got upvoted into the higher end of the upvoted comments. So maybe we can assume that some of those super negative comments were people that, maybe for whatever reason, maybe they just got a bad gun or it was an outlier. I will say that I've been shooting Mini 14s for probably about 25 or 30 years. It's been quite a while. And some of the early ones, not going to say I exactly had a very good experience with in terms of accuracy. But then again, your expectations for accuracy can be a considerably different thing when you're talking about growing up shooting AR-15s and things like that as well. ARs are way more accurate than a Mini 14 will ever be. Ruger actually did make an attempt to do an accurized Mini 14 with like a harmonic dampener on the end of the barrel. It looks kind of like a fake suppressor, kind of like almost what they do on some of the air guns to dampen the barrel harmonics to make the gun more accurate. Those were short-lived. I don't think Ruger makes that precision Mini 14 anymore, and I don't even know if the accuracy gains were warranted or that they did that much of a difference. The biggest teething issue that the Mini 14 has to deal with is that gas system and the barrel harmonics and the fitment of the stock. All of those can be things that are challenging, especially with just a basic polymer stock or even a wood stock, right? Of course, with the wood, you have issues with potentially like the moisture or the weather causing it to expand and contract, and that can cause accuracy issues. So, I don't know if maybe Ruger just made some different geometry changes to the barrel, or maybe they bedded the gas system in a different way or fitted the gas system in a different way. But from everything I've been told about the Mini 30s and Mini 14s that are coming out of Ruger now is that the accuracy issues have been pretty well resolved, and the gun is considerably more accurate than the guns of yesteryear. Who knows? But they still offer a ton of different models. It's still an awesome rifle. I do like it, and I'm not going to lie. There was a time when I thought about making a Mini 14 video to end all Mini 14 videos, and it wasn't going to be overly flattering, and I was going to use one of my old Minis. But then I realized I got looking through my collection, and I don't even have my old Mini 14 anymore. I got rid of it a long time ago because I wasn't happy with the accuracy. You know, I think it was even Jeff Cooper himself that said, what, only accurate rifles are interesting, right? That might have been Colonel Cooper that said that. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But yes, only accurate rifles are interesting. And when you're talking about a semi-auto, you know, you're going to expect maybe a lesser degree of accuracy than a finely fitted bolt gun or something, but it should still be accurate enough to do the job it needs to do. I mean, especially if there are other semi-autos out there that are accurate. Well, why would you settle for a gun that is not very accurate when there's a cheaper gun that is arguably way more accurate? So I think that's where a lot of people are at. And there are a lot of folks that are sticking to the Mini 14 for nostalgia. They are cool. They do look awesome. I mean, it is an interesting gun. I would love to see Ruger make a Mini 14 pistol. All right. Now, you want to talk about barrel length. You want to talk about barrel harmonics, gas system flex, barrel flex, especially in the 5.56 barrels that might be a little longer, like an 18-inch. You know, it's a relatively long barrel. A 16-inch barrel might be relatively long. You know, some of you may not remember the old Enforcers, right? The little M1 carbine pistols that came out, the little tiny Enforcers. What if they had a Mini 14 pistol, okay, maybe a 10-inch barrel or something, get that barrel shorter, get it more rigid, right? You're going to have less of that flex, less of those harmonics being a factor. The shorter barrel will shoot better in terms of the harmonics. And if you're going to deal with the inherent shortcomings of the gas system of the Mini 14, well then why not shorten the system up if you can get it to run reliably? I think a Mini 14 pistol would be awesome. And that would put the Mini 14 in a completely different environment and maybe bring it up to the modern age by offering a pistol that could be an easy turnkey SBR. You buy the Samson stock, you have a folding stock with a short 10-inch barrel, threaded barrel, modern rail system from Samson, bring the Mini 14 kind of up to standard a little bit. I think that might breathe some new life into the platform. Now, I can't speculate on what Ruger may or may not do in the future, but if I was Ruger, that's just me, I would try to do a 10-inch version in a pistol and sell it as a pistol. I think that'd be pretty cool. But maybe I'm talking out of turn here. Maybe they've already experimented with shorter systems and found them to not be reliable or to not have the proper dwell time. Who knows? I'm kind of speculating here, but it would be cool to see some sort of a Mini 14 or Mini 30, especially a Mini 30 pistol would be awesome. 10-inch barrel, 7.62 by 39, maybe a threaded barrel, be some cool stuff. So thank you to everybody that participated in this particular poll. Thank you for the comments. We had a really good pool of data. That was over 21,000 votes. So I think that's pretty safe to say that, yeah, 82% of you have a favorable opinion of the Mini 14. So interesting data. I wanted to share it. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Many more on the way. We'll see you soon.